The final hours of Robert Gleason. Why this inmate killed again just to face the electric chair. Hello friends. Today we meet a man who didn't run from death, he demanded it. While most inmates fight the system to stay alive, Robert Charles Gleason Jr. forced Virginia to execute him, even turning his cell into a crime scene to speed up the process. This was no quiet countdown to the end. It was defiance, a dark lesson, and a chilling glimpse into a mind that refused to bend. On the 16th of January, 2013, Gleason became the last man executed in Virginia, by electric chair, barefoot, calm, and unrepentant. But how does someone go from tattoo artist and father to a killer who would strangle behind bars just to prove a point? What makes a man stare down the state and say, "If you don't kill me, I'll kill again"? Stay with me, this story is unlike any other. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next deep dive into America's most haunting prison tales. Dear friends, the story of Robert Charles Gleason Jr. is unlike anything you've heard before. Most people behind bars fear the death penalty. They fight it, appeal it, cling to any hope that might keep them alive. But Robert Gleason? He wanted it, and he was willing to kill again to get it. On the surface, that sounds unthinkable. Why would anyone choose death over life, even in prison? But Gleason wasn't just any inmate. He had a plan, a chilling one, and he carried it out with a calm precision that shocked even the toughest correctional officers. Tonight, we step inside those final days, inside a mind that treated death as a destination rather than a punishment. From his cell in Virginia's highest security prison to the electric chair that ended his life, this is the story of a man who forced the state's hand and made history as the last person executed by electrocution in Virginia. Robert Gleason didn't start out behind bars. He grew up in Massachusetts, drifted through a rough life, and eventually became a tattoo artist in New York. But the streets pulled harder than the ink machine ever could. By the time he landed in Virginia, he was tangled deep in the meth trade. In 2007, his world erupted in violence. Gleason executed a man named Michael Kent Jamerson, someone he believed had betrayed him in a drug deal. He shot Jamerson and left no doubt about his intent. For that crime, he was sentenced to life without parole. To many, that would be the end of the story. But for Gleason, life without parole wasn't life. It was a slow death, and he didn't want to wait. In 2009, while housed at Wallens Ridge State Prison, Gleason made his first move. He strangled his cellmate, 63-year-old Harvey Watson Jr., using strips of bed sheets. Watson had mental health issues and odd behaviors that irritated Gleason, but this wasn't about annoyance. It was calculated. He chose the date carefully. May 8th, the anniversary of Jamerson's killing. He even admitted later, "I planned it." After killing Watson, Gleason didn't run, didn't panic. He sat with the body for 15 hours before guards discovered the crime. And when they asked why, his answer was blunt: "Because you didn't give me the death penalty. If you don't do it now, I'll kill again." It sounded like a threat. It was a promise. The system didn't move fast enough for Gleason. So, in July 2010, at Red Onion State Prison, he struck again. This time, the victim was 26-year-old Aaron Cooper, serving time for robbery. Cooper trusted Gleason, even joked with him moments before his death. Gleason lured him close under the pretense of giving him a necklace, a fake noose made from braided bedsheets. In seconds, he looped it around Cooper's neck through the wire fence and strangled him to death. Guards arrived too late. When questioned, Gleason didn't deny it. He laughed. He said he warned them this would happen. And he added, "If you don't execute me, I'll keep killing." At that point, the court had no choice. Gleason got what he wanted: a death sentence. Now, here's where the story becomes even more unsettling. Virginia allowed inmates to choose between lethal injection and electrocution. Most pick the injection. It's quick, less brutal. Gleason chose the chair. When asked why, he said, "Lethal injection is for cowards. Give me old Sparky. It fits me." Think about that. The electric chair is infamous for its pain, for the smoke, for the smell of burning flesh. Yet, Gleason walked toward it like it was his destiny. The 15th of January, 2013, one day before his execution. Inside a small, heavily guarded cell at Greensville Correctional Center, Gleason sat alone. No appeals pending, no frantic calls to lawyers. He'd waived every right, signed every paper, cleared every obstacle. That night, he had a last meal but ordered prison staff not to disclose what it was. To this day, No one knows. Even in death, he controlled the narrative. He refused a spiritual advisor. No priest, no prayers. Instead, he spent the day making 5 final phone calls believed to be to family and a few close friends. Officials said he was calm, even cheerful. He showered, shaved, and put on the beige uniform reserved for the condemned. At 8:30 in the evening, the warden asked the ritual question, "Do you have any last words?" Gleason smirked, "I'll save it for the chair." At 8:55 in the evening, guards escorted him to the execution chamber. Witnesses described it as surreal. No trembling, no fear. He looked relaxed, almost excited. They strapped him into the wooden chair, securing his arms, legs, chest, and head. A black mask was pulled over his face, leaving only his nose exposed. Then came his final words. "Well, I hope Percy ain't going to forget to wet the sponge. Put me on the highway to Jackson and call my Irish buddies. Pog mo thoin." That last phrase? Irish Gaelic for "kiss my ass." At 9:07 in the evening, the switch was thrown. A surge of electricity ripped through his body. His fists clenched. Smoke curled from beneath the mask. 2 minutes later, he was dead. Robert Gleason became the last person executed by electrocution in Virginia, and the first executed in the U.S. in 2013. Virginia abolished the death penalty in 2021. Gleason's execution is now a piece of history, a grim marker in a debate that still rages today. Did the state deliver justice, or did it play into a killer's plan for self-destruction? Gleason didn't fear death. He hunted it. He turned punishment into a stage and left us with questions that have no easy answers. In the end, Robert Gleason's case wasn't just about crime or punishment, it was about control. From his first shooting on the outside to his 2 calculated killings behind bars, he turned the justice system into his stage, daring it to act. And when the state finally granted his wish, he walked into the electric chair without hesitation, leaving behind a trail of questions we still debate today. Did Virginia stop a threat, or did it give a dangerous man the spotlight he craved? Was this justice, or did Gleason use the system to write his own ending? These questions still echo long after the switch was flipped. Dear friends, thank you for joining me on this journey through one of Virginia's most chilling prison stories. If this left you thinking, don't leave without subscribing. There's more to uncover. And I promise, the next story will keep you just as captivated.